Carol Williams. How are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning, community. Good morning to the West Coast and good afternoon to the East Coast. How are you? Are you freezing? I am Jenenne Macklin, transformational speaker, your wealth guide and catalyst. We've got rain here, just rain, 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 which we need. So I trust that you may have what you need in your environment, wherever you are on the planet. I wanted to hop on today because earlier in the week I was talking about dreams. And I'm sorry I missed you Wednesday. My marketing team called me and they needed new brand pictures and I had to pull everybody together and I did a quick photo shoot for my brand on Wednesday. And was running around, had all kind of curlers in my hair and everything. So I do apologize. Given that I will move from here starting on Monday to my Money and Wealth Mastery private group. And I'm inviting you now to join me over there because that's where I will be regularly, okay? I know you're freezing in New York, right? Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. But you've been there, right? So you're used to the environment of New York and what to do and how to stay warm, right? So you see, I started with the day I thought, let me just get a glass of tea. I just wanted something warm, even though my cold here is nothing like the cold on the East Coast. But I started the week off talking about dreams, and I thought I'd end with that same thing. I am a transformational speaker, a professional speaker. I'm a wealth coach and catalyst. And I had a dream, and that dream was and is to empower women, to simply know your value, to make peace with money so that you can begin to live the life that you choose. Now, I've been a speaker for many, many, many years. I can remember speaking. Matter of fact, my first presentation was moving from fear to faith. That's when I knew I had the juice, so to speak. I put this announcement out. I don't even know if I was even that familiar with the internet, that I was going to do a presentation from fear to faith. It was I want to say a 4-week presentation, 2 weeks on fear, 2 weeks on faith. Little did I know, I had standing room only from the very beginning. I mean, it was a conference room. There was full standing room on the walls and people were outside. I was like, oh my gosh, for fear? So the first 2 sessions were fear. We're going to move from fear into faith. And it was in that experience I realized how much we were committed more to our fears than we were to our faith. Then when we did the 2 weeks on faith, the room was still full, but it wasn't standing room and it wasn't people outside the door. And I realized, wow, we're more committed to our fear. We're more comfortable with, we're more aware of our fear than we are committed to and connected to and anchored in the bigger energy of faith. And from there, I went on to speak about women and being successful back then. Before she became who she is now, I remember Iyanla Vanzant had a African American Women on Tour. I would tour with them and speaking with women. The first book I had then was Faith the Size of a Mustard Seed. And I'm a spiritual teacher. I had a spiritual community for 12, 15 years. And out of that came a book because people kept saying, Rev, do you have a book? Do you have a book? So that after they left service, they'd have something to read. And that's really what started me on my journey. My company then was Inner Wisdom, and I hope to keep that because I like that. I believe that what we're looking to anchor our life, what we're looking to build our goals and happiness on is based on an inner wisdom. And if we can tap into that, become aware of it, and live from it, then reaching our goals will come with grace and ease instead of what seems to be such a struggle. So I put the book together, put the book out there, great and wonderful. And then I began to speak. And I remember this may happen for you. You know how you do something, and you're kind of comfortable with it, and then someone gives you a big invitation, and you kind of unknowingly, a little nervous, but you accept it. And I'm like, okay. Well, for me, that was a Black Women's Forum, I believe, many years ago, and I was asked to speak there. Or I was asked to do a prayer. It was something where internally I felt a little bit of a conflict for who I was and who they were and how I'd make a meet in the middle, so to speak. So I did the presentation, standing ovation and everything, but I walked off that stage, walked back to my job and said, forget it. I'm not doing that. I don't know what I'm doing. It made me so nervous, and I let it be. And then at one point, what happened? I started doing talks just from the church. I was doing things on success, on how to, again, move from fear into faith, how you could have more in your life. And a friend of mine let me know that Les Brown was going to be, then it was called the Proud Bird Conference Center. So I went there and I met him and worked with him, interesting, and worked with him. And I continued to speak, but not as much as I had before. So I put that aside. Started my ministry at that point. Then I was fired for the second time in 2010, I think it was. And I'm a clinical social worker by profession. I do have a license. I've had private practices for years. Because of a message I heard as a young child, I worked with children throughout most of my professional career. I've worked with children in residential placement. I've worked with children with reunification, where one parent may have taken a child to another country, and we get them to come back, and I'd be at the airport at 2 or 3 in the morning to receive this child, and then return them to that other parent, and then do counseling with them. I've worked with kids in day treatment, in probation. Everywhere there were children, I worked with them, because I always felt that teenagers were the ones that people were like, oh, I don't want to be bothered with teenagers. You want the babies, you want the adult, but that in between, that was my sweet spot. Until I got fired. And when I was fired in 2010 or 2011, I was tired of social work. And I remember saying, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to get another job, or are you going to start another business? And so I took a week off, drove up north, up the coast, stayed at Who Keeps the Light On For You? Whatever the hotel commercial is, or motel that keeps the light on for you. That was where I stopped all along the way. And when I came back, I decided, okay, you're writing a second book. And that book, I don't know, is it here on the stack of books? Was entitled, Let's Get You Happy First, because it became clear to me that before I could move forward and do anything else in my life, I had to get me happy. I had to look inside of me and see what was happening. Where was I not fully standing in who I was? Where was there shame, disappointment, frustration? And really look at how to move that. Because I had been working in a private practice with women for years anyway. And the sense of worth had always been an issue. And so much of our time was spent on what we were doing for others and how we were taking care of others, as opposed to what did we have to fill ourselves, to fill our cups. So I decided, okay, I'll write a book. And I started writing the book. Well, at that time, my son, who is 16 now, was a little one. And so he couldn't sleep well on his own. So each night I would sleep with him, read a story to him, then fall asleep let him fall asleep. And then I get out of the bed. Well, it's around 11 or 12 o'clock then. And at that point, my office was in the living room. So I'd come out here and start writing my book. And I'd write on it from like 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning until I was so cold, because it was wintertime, like 4 or 5. Because once I start writing, it's like this information would come, and I would just write. I'm getting cold, and I'm putting on my clothes, I'm putting on my socks, but I'm still working until I just couldn't do it anymore. Then I'd go to bed for an hour, wake up, and do it all over again. And then I said, what am I going to do now? And I didn't know how to move forward from then to step back into speaking, and it wasn't really clear what I wanted to focus on. So I went into my library, and I had Iyanla's book there, and I had other books, and I found a book called No Matter What. And it was a book by Lisa Nichols. And I didn't really know Lisa at that point. So I scoured the internet looking for information, couldn't find anything, because it was under Motivating the Masses, which is the name of her company. And I found her on there, and everything was kind of elusive. I'm like, what do you do? And how much does it cost? And where do I see you? And how do I make this happen? Well, I am a strong believer. I live my life on the law of attraction and all the laws of the universe. So as I began to ask, well, how do I meet her? And where is she? And how am I going to find her? I received an email from a woman I did not know. Her name is Constance. She was doing these trips to Italy, and she still does them to this day. That was 10 years ago. But the invitation was to come to a hotel in Beverly Hills that Lisa Nichols was going to be speaking. And at that time, the ticket was $65. I was completely blown away. That put her in reach. I had $65. I could do that with grace and ease. So I go. And I am just so excited to meet this woman. I hadn't seen her, and I'm like looking all through her page to see, how do I work with you? Where is something I can work with you? And there was nothing. So I get there. Long story short, because I'm sure you have things to do today, I wait to speak to her after the event. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I finally get to her, and I'm like, oh, Lisa, you're so amazing. This is great. And I just got fired from my job, and I have a child, and I have this, and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I'm writing a book, and I've got tears streaming down my face. And she's like, I got you. I got you. And so from that moment on, I began working with Lisa Nichols, who ultimately ended up training me. Now, that was 10 years ago. Fast forward, I've spent time. Again, I circle back to Les Brown because he was at an event that I was doing with George Frazier. And he had an offer, and I accepted his offer because the money that I was giving to him technically was going toward a fundraiser. And so I worked with Les Brown. I've worked with many people over the years to really hone in on my craft of empowering women to make peace with money, to align with money, to know that you matter beyond what you do for others. You matter because of who you are and what you bring to the table. You matter because of the magnificence of you that God has created. You matter because you're a one-of-a-kind design, and there's nobody else like you that will ever be like you. They could dress like you, they could wear some of the same clothes, but they'll never be you. So I made that my commitment because I struggled in debt, I kid you not, for at least 25 years or 30 years. I don't want any woman struggling with debt that long because I didn't know the lies. I didn't know the myths. I didn't really understand America and consumerism, but I do remember when we were citizens and we weren't consumers. I didn't understand that, so I ended up in debt not once, but twice I walked myself out of debt. The first time I did get some assistance and consolidated my bills and paid them all off. And you would think I'd have learned then, right? I had to get in debt again, but it was okay because it became the catalyst for me to say enough is enough. And then when I looked around, I realized how many other women are living in debt. How many other women don't have the tools necessary? How many other women sat at the dinner table and no one talked about interest or credit or debt or home ownership or real estate? Or investments or stocks or bonds. No one talked about that at my dinner table. Maybe they did at yours, but I realized we had a gap when it came to how we could be self-sufficient, take care of ourselves and our families, and contribute to the world and to our communities. So I stepped right into that, foot first, jumping into the water, wanting to teach women to understand your personal finance, to make peace for your financial freedom, and to have greater financial confidence. And that's what I've been doing. Let's see, I was with Lisa in 2010, ever since. Many of us have beliefs about money that aren't true. Many of us have habits and patterns with money that we really aren't conscious of that impact the end result that we want to see in our lives and business. And so that's exactly what I do and began to do then. And then came the last book, my most recent book, which is, Money Mastery Now. 3 components. Align money. I want you to activate your joy, and I want you to amplify your worth. And of course, I went back to Les for the foreword, and he writes the foreword in here about what's happening in this book and how it can help you and support you. So this is what I'm going back to. This is why I'm saying to you, meet me in the Money and Wealth Mastery private group. I have also created affirmation cards to go with this book. And I did that intentionally because when I looked around, there was nothing that I could anchor my brain on as it related to the concepts and underlying components to money. And so I thought, why don't we have money affirmations? Why aren't we training ourselves to think certain ways and speak certain ways so that we can shift the relationship we have with money, so that we're not just consumers and we're spending, which is what America wants us to do, but instead, we're cultivating our own financial confidence to be able to stand for the money that comes into our life. We're also going to look at how do we not build up our confidence, but build up a love and an appreciation with money so you can attract more into our lives. What are the principles in the universe around money? Because see, we created money. You know that, right? It didn't just show up. We created it, but when we first created it, we created it as being citizens. Now it's all about consume. So I'm going to be offering the affirmation cards to this book that accompany this book within that group. And starting on Monday, I will be teaching on each one of the affirmations every single Monday and guiding you through setting up and using your affirmation throughout that week. So you can meet me over there in that private group. It's called Money and Wealth Mastery. There are 3 questions you have to ask because I'm not wanting people to promote in there. It's funny when you have your own group about money, people want to come in and give you shortcuts. I want to give you what you have to do on a day-to-day basis. I used to teach women how to stop chasing money like you chase a man. And everybody would laugh, but they knew it was true. Here's the thing. If you chase something, what happens? You chase a piece of paper and tell me. You move toward that paper and what does it do? Flies away. You run after it and chase it, it flies away. Well, there were a lot of women that I was meeting then who were chasing money like they chase a man, which means you're going around in circles and you could never catch it, get a hand on it, or handle on it because you're chasing it. So I teach you how to live with money, how to attract money, how to make peace with money, how to make stronger decisions with money so that we each have our own financial base that we stand on. So if you're looking for your man to get married, you have something to bring to the table and you could demand that he has something or she has something to bring to the table. If you're looking for how am I going to be okay for my retirement or how am I going to make sure I pay my bills off. Well, now we're looking at your mindset. What is the mindset that you have about money? And quite frankly, the mindset I had was a whole big lie because it was a lie that America had sold us. But as I kept looking around, I thought, no, there's more to it than this. And then I had this incredible experience that I'll talk to you about that let me know exactly how it felt to have money, but not to have it, to hold on to it, to have it in a sense that I could attract it to me if I did these particular things. So I have been working with women from the very beginning. We started with holistic wealth, and now we're looking at consciously creating your life. Because there's infinite prosperity. There's as much prosperity for each and every one of you as there is air. Do we ever have a shortage of air? No. And just like there's no shortage of air, in spite of all that we do and how much we pollute and all of that, there's no shortage of abundance, prosperity, money, and wealth for each and every one of you to step into. But we have to desire it. We have to want to put one foot in front of the other and actually claim it for ourselves. And then we have to be willing to take the action. And what I found a lot was we won't even talk about money. We whisper and we're in debt and we're in fear and worry. We won't even talk about it. So it keeps us unconsciously enslaved to it. And that's what they want. They don't want us to talk about it. They want us to be over here trying to do it all by ourselves. But if we could come together as powerful women who are anchored in the prosperity that you do have, that move through this world with a consciousness that is not chasing money, that is a consciousness of attracting money and taking the actions to be in alignment with money, then you get to see something different showing up in your life. So those are the principles that I teach as I go forward, and I'm looking at creating this wonderful group that I'm so excited about. It's called Align 90. Because you know, if you're 90 degrees out of alignment, it just takes a little bit to get into alignment. And that's what I'm teaching women is how do you get into alignment and then live from that alignment as it relates to money. Particularly now, because we're looking at shifting, the 5G also is a shift with money. It's a shift to either Bitcoins, to electronic currency. They are shifting that as well. Don't be surprised if you hear something in the years to come, because we didn't always have cash money. If you know the history of money, we created it with cowrie shells, which were the African shells. And it was an exchange. If Carol needed something to feed her children, I had chicken, and I needed eggs to do something, then I would go to Carol and say, hey, Carol, here's the chicken. And she said, okay, I need eggs. She'd give me the eggs. Then we'd negotiate. Okay, so what is it? Well, give me 3 cowrie shells, and I'll give you 4 cowrie shells. And that was it. Because then money was about taking care of everyone. We were citizens. We were taking care of everyone. It's a matter of, oh, you need this and I have it. Okay, I'll give you this and we'll switch. Oh, you need this? Okay, I'll give you that. And that was the way we lived. I don't necessarily know the year, but it was probably, I remember being a citizen, but maybe in the 1970s, maybe the 80s, we shifted to being consumers. So America defined us for itself. We're going to consume. And boy, have we consumed. The number one business that's making the most profits in America is storage. Public storage, because we have so much stuff that it can't even fit into our homes. So anyway, I'm just excited to be able to talk about it with you today. And the reason why I'm talking about it today is on Monday when I talk to you about your dreams are not only going to be fueled by what you think, and how you feel. We all are going to need money to fuel our dreams. We need money to fuel the dreams that we have that have been placed inside of us. So it becomes imperative to me that we learn how to make peace with money, how we begin to open up to a consciousness of wealth and what that would look like for us. Because like I said, Unless someone talked to you about money at the dinner table, how did you learn about money? How did you learn to navigate money? How did you learn about debt? What's good debt, if there's a such thing? We all probably know about bad debt. How do you learn about investing? How do you learn about being open to a consciousness of wealth and knowing that wealth is all around you? How do you understand the principles behind money, behind the saving, behind getting out of debt? And more importantly, how do you make the commitment to your financial freedom? So I'm going to be over in the Money and Wealth Mastery Group talking about the affirmations that go with this book that I'm so excited about to have. Yay. And begin to break down the thinking that we have. Now, this book you can find on my website, JenenneMacklin.com. It's on there for you to purchase. If you purchase this book, we're going to be sending it to you directly. I will autograph it for you. So just so you know, when they get that, I just autographed one. Someone sent it to me. I want your book. Came through, signed it, and sent it back. So you will get your personal copy. If you go through Amazon, that's fine too. Those aren't necessarily autographed copies. So I'm just stepping on today to say your dreams need funding. Your dreams need funding. And so what are the disciplines, what are the actions that are necessary for you to reach them? And here's the other thing too. We do a lot by ourselves. I don't know what that is except for the way America has trained us as women. We also do a lot for others and not for ourselves. So one of the key components for me is getting women to begin to talk. Do you know how men talk about money? They don't have any secrets. They have no problems telling each other how much they make, that kind of stuff. But we don't want anybody to know how much we make. It's either not enough or it's too much. And all that stuff just keeps us stuck in the same places. We also don't know what we don't know about money. So often you're operating in conversations and actions with money that are not for your highest results. Because when we're talking about money, we're looking for results. You're looking for results in your business. You're looking for results with your weight loss program. You're looking for results in your investments. Whatever it is with money, it's about what are the results that I can generate from being in this exchange with the money. So that is what I am excited about. That is what I know that women need. Your personal finance is yours. And many times, you'll let the husband take care of it. Then when he makes his transition, there you are saying, I don't know what to do. That's unacceptable. You are smart. You are talented. You have skills and ability. And it's about us being willing to take off our sense of, oh my God, and stand boldly for what we want to see showing up in our lives, and then being the vessel for it to manifest through us so that it actually does show up in our life. And I'm that person that just wants to walk alongside of you and help you and say, don't go that way. No, go that way. Do this. What's your meditation? What's your practice? What's the principle you're activating right now for the results that you want? That's who I am. So if nothing else, this pandemic has taught us life goes on. Bills still happen. Some people had savings account. That's what I've lived off of. And in addition to the fact my clients still continue to work with me. But life still happens. Life is going to keep happening. The sun is going to come up and shine. The moon is going to pop out when it's supposed to. The stars are going to stay up there. They're not falling down on us. The oceans are moving in and out with that sway. Life continues to happen. So it's up to each of us as the women in our life to take the steps and the actions for what we want to see showing up in our lives. I understand that, Carol. She said, that's my issue. I don't know exactly what to do with money. And many of us don't. And we are embarrassed to say it, but you don't need to be embarrassed. Did you live with a financial planner? Most of us didn't. My mom and dad were probably 2 steps removed from slavery. So what they taught them about money and what to do with it, they didn't know, or they learned along the way. It was clearly in my household that my mom knew what to do. And I think the church she attended, or we attended, taught them. And so that's how come she was buying property. She didn't share that with me, though. So I had to learn what to do with my money. I had to learn how to save. I don't cough for you guys, but I had to learn how to save. But more importantly, I had to learn how to think about it, because I had incorporated what America had told me. I had been pushing. I remember trying to get my first credit card for my mom because she wanted one and thought that, I don't know, it was going to give her some status or something to have a credit card, because not many black people had credit cards back then. And she didn't get one. And when I did get one, it just left me in debt. I remember my first days with money. I was at Nichols check cashing back then. cashing my checks. Already at a young age, trying to catch bounce checks. You know, I didn't know what to do with my money. Debt 2 times, and there's I don't want to say an invisible component, but I guess I will, invisible component to our spending. And so that was impacting me. And I gradually just took it apart one by one by one. I did it on my own. I got myself out of debt on my own. I filed for bankruptcy. I've been in credit card debt. I have paid bills late. I have hung up on, who was calling me back then? Bill collectors. I've dodged bill collectors. And all of that has been what I had to walk myself out of into where I am at this point now. And I had to take the responsibility and be willing to accept the responsibility. I'm working hard, and each and every one of you are working hard. What are the choices you're making with your money, and where do they stem from, and how come? Because the other piece that's connected to our money is we've been brainwashed, I guess, that our lives are basically for others. Our money is for others. We give our money to our parents, to our money to our kids. We give money to our friends. So if we're giving all our money to them, what's left? And if we have that thought that our money is for others, you do for others, because if you do for yourself, you're selfish. That's what my Let's Get You Happy First book was all about. Then, oh my gosh. But I'm saying to you, be selfish. You worked hard for it. You want to be clear about your plans for it, where you want it to go, and what you want it to do for you, because you are the CEO of your life and your money. So, you know, Carol, set up a session with me. It's free. If you're on my email list, it's there. If not, I'll put it on the website. Just set up a session with me. What do you mean you don't know what to do with money? Look at your goals, what you want to see in life. Look at where you are. Just begin to actually notice how you even feel about dealing with money. But set up for a session. Talk with me. It's interesting that most of my clients are on the East Coast. So when I see you in New York, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm always dealing with people on the East Coast for whatever reason. I guess it's like Jesus. They didn't like him in his own hometown, so he had to go someplace else. So I guess I have to go someplace else too. But you are the CEO of your life. And it's not okay for us to feel ashamed of not knowing what we don't know. It'd be different if you went to school. It would be different in school. They actually taught us things that mattered in life, like stock markets and investing and real estate and all of that, but they don't. We have to learn that on our own, and unfortunately, we learn it through trial and error, and that error can take a lot of time. I don't want anybody in debt like I was one time, only to get back in debt again and have to get out again. I want you to understand debt from the very beginning. I want you to understand what are the invisible factors that impact your money and your spending and your thinking, because once you're armed with that, then you can, if you choose to, make different decisions. Is it hard? Not necessarily. Does it require commitment? Yes. Will you need to have courage? Yes. Will you need to be consistent? Yes. But what else in life isn't that? You go to work consistently. You probably have to have courage some days when you go to work, because people may get on your nerves. So what is it about taking those 3 powerful principles of how you already live your life and applying them to your relationship with money? I don't want you worried with money. I don't want you stressing about money. I don't want you sitting around upset trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that with money. When you can know the tools, you can shift the mindset, you can take the steps and the actions, and then understand what's underneath it all and build an incredible life for yourself. An incredible life for yourself. But just know, we weren't taught. Who sat down at the dinner table and talked to you about money? Who sat down at the dinner table and talked to you about APRs and compounded income? Who at the dinner table sat down and talked to you about insurance and trust and credit cards? What's good debt or bad debt, if there really is good debt? Who talked to you about the, I used to call them the 3 spies, but I don't know what to call them, the credit bureaus, I guess. Who taught you about that? Who told you that there would be this system put in place to track what you do and how you spend, which is really a system really to keep you at a certain level? The game is afoot, as Sherlock Holmes would say. I love Sherlock Holmes. And we need to know what the game is. And most of us weren't taught the game when it comes to money and finances. You just figured all the big white boys, sorry to say, had everything, and we just had to scuffle and scuffle and scuffle. But that's not true. There are tools, there are skills, there are principles that they know that we can know just as well and live from to build our resources, to build our finances so that we feel stable, we feel comfortable, we feel secure with the choices that we're making and the future we're building. But it will take commitment. You got to start somewhere and build where you want to go. It takes courage because everybody around you may not be doing it, and they'll be like, girl, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Oh, you can spend your money. No, you cannot, because you have goals. And it will take being consistent. Like when I started this last year, I was on here every single day, consistent. And then finally I realized, okay, this is obviously the way we're going to live. So then I shifted it to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, consistent. Missing here and there, but your life requires it. And you deserve it. So I'm standing for every single woman who hears this. I'm standing for you to step into abundance and help you understand the lie that you've been told, that you've been living under, that I lived under for many, many years. And when you break through that, then it's about what are the action steps that I need to take, what are the thoughts that I need to think so that I can see the results in my life. So again, this right here, Money Mastery Now, you can find it on JenenneMacklin.com. Kind of cute, huh? And let's see, what does this say back here? Is there something back here? Oh, one of the comments from Les says, Money Mastery Now offers prosperity and mindset shifts that get you on the right track. These shifts help improve every aspect of your life. If you get it from my website, we will send it to you, and I will personally autograph it for you. You can get it on Amazon. Yes, you can. I didn't autograph all those books that I have there at Amazon. And you can find me at moneyandwealthmastery.com. It's a private Facebook group that I have. There's about 300 or so people in there, but I'll be there every Monday going forward, talking to you about the teachings and the principles of how you use affirmations to keep you in alignment with what you want to see showing up in your life. And Carol, I'll just put a link in the page here on my business page. You can go there, and it's a 15-minute call that you can set up to get some sense of where it is, where you are, and where you want to go. Hey, David, how are you? You were with me long time ago last year. I remember walking up the hills, and you were there. Good to see you. I trust you're well, my dear. I will be off of here heading into my private group, Money and Wealth Mastery, starting on Monday. And I was just saying to Carol and anyone else here that my book, Money Mastery Now, has affirmation cards that go along with it, that we will be offering those as well. And that I will be breaking down the affirmation cards in my Money and Wealth Mastery group every Monday. How do you use the affirmation? What is the practice? What is the affirmation actually saying to you? So that you can walk it out for the week, with each affirmation moving you into greater alignment with money. I could not find any affirmations about money when I went into the stores and I was looking. So it only made sense that to accompany the book, we'd have affirmation cards, and we're going to dive into those. I know that we will all be fine. I know that we still have some tough times ahead. A lot has been uncovered with the previous presidency. A lot will still have to be shifted, and we'll have to make room for it. But in the meantime, your personal commitment to your financial freedom, your financial confidence, and your financial goals lies straight in your lap. And I am that coach and catalyst to help you move from where you are to where it is you say that you want to be. So Carol, take good care. I look forward to seeing you. It's been great seeing you pop up here and there. Stay warm. Because last time I was in New York, which was a long time ago, but I remember having on sweaters, I had on fur coat, I had on a hat, I had on boots, and I was still cold. So I'm truly a California girl. But I'll be back there because my son is looking at heading that way. Take good care, everyone. Do not get, what I'm going to tell you, don't get caught up in all this stuff that's going on out there with the president and all that stuff. You have dreams that you have been sent here to manifest. You have goals that you want to achieve. And in all of it, you will need money. And you would probably need to shift the mindset and shift your habits and shift your thinking and your behavior, because they sold us all on this big lie that there wasn't enough. And you'll need support. It's hard to think new thoughts with old people who think the old thoughts. So you'll need that support to stand in the truth of the abundance of your life and the abundance of this universe. Thank you, Carol. Good. I want to see you there. So, David, take good care. I trust you're doing well. I'm going to head off because I know I've been on here talking, but I wanted to at least let you know that's where I will be. I'm comfortable that we will have to be mindful as we're living going forward. There's a lot that's been revealed. There's still, domestic terrorists are concerns now. But, surround yourself in some white light. Let that be how you stand. Move forward. Wear the doggone mask so we can keep going forward toward whatever we're becoming. Because we're not there yet, but we're becoming something as an America. We're still kind of discovering that. There's so much to be done. The Constitution needs to be investigated. They need to change some of the amendments. I mean, it's just so much. So I'm just going to focus on the little part that God, life, and the universe has given me, and that is to empower you to make peace with money so that you can make room for wealth. So take good care. Bye for now. I will be approving anybody coming into the group. So if you go over there and have to get your approval, you do have to answer the 3 questions. If you don't answer them, I won't let you in because I don't know if you're going to be in there trying to sell your products in my page. And then after that, we're on and popping. So I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Take good care. Have a great weekend. We had rain, a beautiful rainstorm, but I see the sun, but I hope we get more. And I pray that you guys get a little higher temperature than how cold it may be in New York and on the East Coast, period. Stay warm. Take good care. Bye for now.